Hey everyone, this is Old Grimes. 1, 2, 3. Alright, okay, so this is Old Grimes. It's an old fiddle tune. This is obviously like, this is basically just the version that Julian Lage and Chords and Eldridge are playing. I'm going to link a video to them playing it live. This is maybe not exactly like their live version or exactly like the recording either. It's, a lot of the things come from there, but they play it slightly different each time, so it's not exactly like that. I'm going to talk a little bit about what they're doing in their the backing up, like in their comping in that live video. I'm not going to give a transcription or anything, but I think it's very interesting, so we'll put a little section here where we're going to talk about what they're doing to make some of the background playing or the accompaniment really good in that one. So I'll link that video. I'll also link Norman and Nancy Blake's version, which is also super great, and I think that that's kind of where a lot of inspiration for this came from. Maybe I'll link my banjo arrangement of this as well, so that if you have a banjo player, you can play it with them. There's an arrangement there. So we're playing this in the key of D. It's a fiddle tune. It's just A section twice, B section, A, B, B, A, B, B, over and over and over again. So the tab will be in the video, but if you want a PDF of the tab or you want a lead sheet so you can bring it and play with your friends who are playing fiddle or whatnot, you'll have to get that on my Patreon. So before we go through and play note for note here, let's talk really quickly about the chords. So the chords are like this. The A section, D, A, B minor, G, then A, then D, A, then we have this quick thing, B minor, G, A, then D, then it repeats. This is just the A section. Remember that when you play one of these songs, even if you're only playing with one other person, that means you're playing chords at least as often as you're playing the melody. So very important to go through. Okay, and then the B section, do da da do, D, then a G, then we have B minor again, A, then D, then G, G again, then A, then D again, the B section twice. Okay, so I really find it helpful to sing along the song, even if you're like me and you can't sing and the pitches are way off. If you sing along with the song, it really helps you follow where you are, knowing what's happening in the song. You're really connecting these chords to the melody, which is very, very important. Okay, so let's actually talk about what's going on in the this live version with Chords Eldridge and Julian Lage. Now, I did transcribe this and talk about it with the student, but I don't remember. It's been months. But there's some cool like harmonic stuff. I think he gets this D harmonic chord. We'll not talk about that. But particularly in the A section, what they're trying to do is get these kind of open sounds. Now, this is something that works really great when you have you're the only other person accompanying someone. It gets a little bit tougher if you're in a big jam. So this is the kind of thing that I wouldn't recommend doing if you're jamming with 7 people and there's another guitar player. You can't just decide crazy chords to play. But in the A section, you're getting a lot of open notes. So they do stuff like letting this open E string ring, and even the open G string on most notes. So they'll get this D sus chord instead of an open D, and then the A, right? And then when you go to the B minor, you'll actually hear, this is kind of a crazy B minor, where you get this open G and the open E, and then the G, A. So the G has that open E on the top. And we're just letting those open notes ring. Actually, if you do this, you can play all the chords where your third finger stays on that second string. D sus, A7. This is like a B minor with a flat 13 and an 11. It's a ridiculous chord name for a chord, but then G with a 6 on the top, and then the A. So that's something they'll also do kind of these like kind of guide tone chords with the open notes, which is super cool. But anyways, so that's that A section, and in the B section, particular when Chris comes in and is playing, he does a bass line, and he does some cool inversion stuff. At one point, he starts on, instead of starting on the D, he starts on the F sharp on the D, which is really cool. And then G, and I think he just goes up the scale. A, B, C, D, F sharp, G. Something along these lines. Something along these lines, but you'll see these kind of open notes that I'm getting. Because there's no one else backing up and playing chords, he can be pretty liberal with what's happening there, as long as it doesn't offend the melody. But you'll see there, one thing I'll mention that you might notice is B minor and G are kind of substitutes for each other in a lot of ways. So you can get kind of these B minor sounds over top of the G and the G sounds over the B minor. You're not going to have any problems. Okay, so that was a quick thing. I just think that's interesting, and it's fun if you're playing in a duo to do stuff like that. Not just in this tune, you know, you can always bring it into other tunes that you're doing, where you're doing your primary, being the primary backup. Okay, a lot of talking. Let's talk about these melodies. Now, before we jump into the melody, I'm just going to go over. Maybe I'll put it up on the screen to make more work for myself. If you're familiar with an open D major scale, it makes it a lot easier. And I'm just going to play here the octave. So D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. You can keep going, right? We have the open E, F sharp, G, A, and B. And down as well. Like D, C sharp, B, A, G, F sharp, B, D. But if you're used to that, this makes it a lot easier. So maybe before running this, just try going up and down the scale. One thing I'll mention with D that's always a little bit weird is sometimes, well, if you play the pentatonic, you just kind of leave out often you just leave out the open G note. So D, E, F sharp, A, B, C sharp, D. But you could play this B as here, the fourth string open, or you could play, fourth string, third fret. Third string, fourth fret. Oh, my lord. Third string, fourth fret is a B. Also, the open second string is a B, so we kind of switch between which way we're going. Where's that coming from? Okay, anyways. Try going up and down the scale to just get comfortable, and you hear it in your head, and it makes these things easier. Anywho, finally, onto this tab. First line. I'll play through it. Now you can change a little bit of the hammer-ons and pulls-offs if you want. I don't think you need to be too precious with it. Notice anytime I'm on a downbeat, it's a downstroke, and anytime I'm on an upbeat, it's an upstroke. If you're comfortable with that shape, you know, anything on the second finger, anything on the third fret, third finger, anything on the fourth fret, fourth finger. Not really much to talk about for that line. Okay, this next line, we're actually starting with a slide to this D note, which is always a cool thing. You can always, anytime you're going to play a note twice, it's kind of cool. This is a very banjo trick to play it in two different spots, right? This D, this D, this D. Right? It's kind of a cool trick, but we start this off with that slide. Oh. We have that little pickup of those last three notes. Right, then we're going to repeat the A section. Now this part's one of the coolest things. As we lead into the B section here, we do this run up of a D major arpeggio, or a D5. Now, when I play this, I really try to let these notes ring out, because I just love the sound of this ringing out here. So now we're on this B line, first bar. Now you can get this with your pinky if you want those notes to ring out. If you don't care about the notes ringing out so much, you can let this one ring out, and with your middle finger you can reach this with your pinky a lot easier. Oops. Okay, let me just talk you through that one. So if this time in particular, I have my middle finger on this D, so I can... Now with this G, I'm getting my third finger here. With this slide, I'm sliding with my third finger, because then I'm going back to the first finger. And this is just along this D chord. If you're not familiar with this D chord here, it's like the A shape that we've moved up 5 frets. But if you can see that, you can make that a little bit easier. Okay, next line is the same. This is the last line here is the same as the last line of the A section. Then we repeat the B section, so we run up this. Last line. Yeah. There's nothing too tricky there, I think, other than just switching from this D to this G shape with these two fingers is a little bit not intuitive, but other than that, it's kind of like you're very much in this second position. So first finger on the second fret, third finger on the fourth fret, pinky on the fifth fret if we need it. Okay, so I mentioned this in the banjo video, so I should do the same thing in this video. Often when you have a study like this, where there's just constant eighth notes, these fiddle tunes are a really good example of this. There's all sorts of other ones as well, but it's a really great kind of practice. But when you first start to learn it, it can often sound very robotic, right? And that's normal. Like the first few times you play it, and you just get in, where do you put your fingers? How does the melody sound? You know, what's the rhythms? It'll take a while before it gets smoother. One thing I find that really helps me is I do 2 exercises. One exercise I do is I go through it and I alter the dynamics once I'm comfortable with playing it. And what I mean by that is I'll try not to speed up or slow down, but I will just, you know, maybe start really quiet and get louder and quieter kind of randomly. Right, like just experimenting that way. And I find that it's not very musical, it's just random dynamics. I'm going up and down almost like breath. But I find that if I do that a while, I feel that control over my dynamics, and I start to humanize the way I'm playing it. Because often you can, you know, make it very kind of like a robotic. The other one has to do with the time feel. And that's, I will often try to play these straight. And then I'll try to go through and play them quite swung. Right? I'm not going to do it either way, but it helps me find that middle ground of like where I actually want to play this, whether it's going to be really swung or not so swung. Because when you play these tunes, depending on how fast you're playing them, and also depending on who you're playing with, kind of the overall groove that you're playing, you want to be comfortable kind of manipulating where that swing sits and how these feel. So if you just play it with the same swing you always do, sometimes it's not going to work with the people you're playing with. So I hope that's helpful. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to play through it at a slow tempo, so you can look at the tabs and hear it. So this is what it sounds like. A 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Alright, there was something weird there. I think I read something wrong or it zoned out. But anyways, yeah, have fun with this one. I really enjoy playing this tune. So, until next time. Bye.